everyone. Welcome to the course on Essential of Object-Oriented Design and Programming. In this presentation, we are going to discuss dynamic modeling. So, one of the model UML Deployment Diagram. The deployment diagram model the physical architecture of the system by depicting the node, that is the hardware devices, and artifacts, that is software component, and communication path between them. It represents the physical deployment of the hardware and the software component in a system. It shows how the software artifact are distributed across the hardware node and how this node communicate with each other. Then purpose. It shows the physical arrangement of the hardware and the software. It illustrates how the software components are deployed on the hardware nodes and describe the runtime environment of the system and help the system deployment and network configurations. Next one is the component and notation, the deployment diagram. So first is the component. The component represents a modular and reusable part of the system, typically implemented as a software module, class, or package. It encapsulates its behavior and data and it can be deployed independently. So see the notation here. This is the component notation node. And next one is the artifact. An artifact represents the physical pieces of the information or the data that is used or produced in the software deployment process. It can include source code file, executable, documents, libraries, configuration file, or any other item. So this is the symbol, this is the artifact. And next one is the interface. It represents a point of the interaction between different component or subsystem. And next one is a node. A node represents the physical or computational resource such as hardware device, server, workstation, or computing resources on which the software component can be deployed or executed. So see this is the node symbol. And next one is the communication path. The straight line that represents the communication between two device node. And next dashes line in the deployment diagram represent the relationship or dependency between the element, indicating that one element is related or dependent on another. See the example here, client server system. So here, client is another node and next is the server is another node. So the server also includes the number of nodes. For example, caching server and server. So this also has some of the node inside the server. So now whenever the client send a request is passed to caching server. The caching server, it will store the recently executed information. So if the information is present the cache server, it will send directly to the client. So the client, it will get the response immediately. Suppose the expected information is not present in the cache server. The cache server, immediately the request is forwarded to the original server. So the original server, it will catch the related information or it will search or get the related information from the database. Then the information is passed to the cache server. So one more copy is maintained in the cache server. The same copy is forwarded to the clients. Suppose the clients again is want to the same copy. So it is available in the cache server. Immediately it will get, then it will execute. So this is the way we are going to reduce the time. So here the entire operation we are going to represent that using the deployment diagram. So this is the some other artifact attached or associated with the cache server, and then here some other artifact it is associated with, that is the servers. For example, admin and next one is log. These all are the associated with the servers. And the next one more example, distributed system. So now all the console, it send a request to the internet. So the internet, it will distribute the information to all the regional server. So now all the regional server, it will get, then it will start the execution. So now this all the regional server, it is connected with the country server. So again the country server which is attached with the login server. This is the way we are going to distribute the information, we are going to execute the content. Next one is the advantage. What are the advantage of deployment diagram? It shows the physical architecture. It helps understand the deployment structures. It is useful for distributed system. And it will identify the communication path and support the infrastructure planning. Next is the comparison between deployment diagram and the component diagram. The deployment diagram is a physical deployment view. Come to the component diagram, it is a physical software structure. And next one is the deployment diagram shows hardware nodes. And the component diagram shows the software component. Already we discussed, right? It will shows the only the components. For example, what are the component of CPU? Mean then we will tell that is the hardware, right? For example, hard disk and RAM, okay, and then port, then memories. Everything is the component of CPU. The CPU is the node. It is the deployment diagram. So the CPU is the example for deployment diagram, and inside the components, right? These all are represent the component diagram. And next one is the deployment diagram. It focus on runtime environment. The component diagram, it will focus on implementations. And next one is the deployment diagram, hardware plus software mapping. But come to the component diagram, that is software module relationships. And next, the comparison of deployment diagram and package diagram. So the deployment diagram, there is a physical architectures. So physically we can view the node. For example, CPU is one of the node, and client is one of the node, and server is one of the node. So that is the physical structures. The package diagram is a logical organization. So package diagram already we discussed, right? The grouping all the related component into single unit is called as package. So it look like some folder symbol. And next one is the deployment diagram. It shows the node and the artifact. And next one is the package diagram. It will show the packages and it will show the dependencies. So it will show only the packages. What are the packages there and what are the dependency between the packages. And next one is the deployment diagram. It is the runtime view. And the package diagram is a design view. So here we can see the how the node it is executed. So through the deployment diagram, it will show the runtime view. Come to the package diagram, only the design view. For the design purpose, then we can use the package diagram. That is what are the packages that is composed in the package diagram. So this is the way we are going to differentiate the deployment diagram and the package diagram. So the deployment diagram is very useful to develop our environment and software natures. Thank you.